Hello and welcome to this video all about your sales director. Specifically, I'm going to focus in this video about the process. What does your sales director mean? What frameworks do we use? What approaches do we take? What does it actually mean when you engage with Sales Geek and you have your sales director coming into your business to work with you, your teams, your customers, and anyone and everyone that they may end up engaging with? First and foremost, let's just remind ourselves of what Sales Geek is all about. Number one, we're here to change the way the world perceives sales. And to do that, we want to put the art of professionalism into sales, sales operations, sales management, and all things sales discipline. We know globally for every size of business, regardless of what sector, market, or vertical that your business might come from, whether you're a solopreneur, a small business, micro business, scaling, emerging, medium business, or the largest of corporates, we know what it takes to make a world-class sales operation and world-class sales people. The Your Sales Director program from Sales Geek leverages what is currently over 1,400 years of combined learning, experience, knowledge, understanding, mistakes made, all of the things that we know from these past 1,400 years of combined experience from all of our geeks around the world, across 4 continents, that we can leverage that combined learning and bring that to you and your organization. This means you get a rich, deep understanding from different variations of knowledge and skills and vantage points of people that have been there, lived that dream from micro business to large corporate organization, so that when we bring the disciplines and the understanding of what it makes and takes to build a world-class sales operation and salespeople, you know that you are getting insight from the world's best. So the other reason why people take your sales director from Sales Geek is a lot of businesses, even the smallest of businesses, want a part-time sales director in their organization. The part-time sales director nature means that we provide a service on a retained basis, which means it's open-ended. There's no fixed term. You will use us, work alongside us for as long as you feel necessary and for as long as you see the benefit and value of doing so. And the moment that we're not adding value to you, you're not enjoying it or working with us, then of course you can terminate the service. But what you are getting is access to not just an individual world-class sales director, but you can tap into that combined knowledge of over 1,400 years of experience from all the sales directors around the world when you might pose challenges or issues that one individual might not know. Rest assured that collectively, somewhere in our organization, somebody has the answer for you. Okay, the first thing I want to do is take you through what customers expect from us. What do they think that they want to get from a typical engagement? So what you're about to hear now is what typically customers that have engaged with your sales director have said to us. This is what we get. This is what we want from you from working with clients for the past 8+ years. So first and foremost, number one along the line is it's all about accelerating growth and or stemming decline. And this is a really important part of business. To accelerate growth or define what growth is in an organization, we have to first get the basics right and understand all the histrionics and all the gears and levers and everything that's got a business to where it is today. And I'll go through more of that when I elaborate more about our process and how we explore the past, how we explore all that data. But ultimately, our first line in principle of being in your business is to provide the acceleration within growth. And growth will come across many areas. Growth might be the revenue line, of course. Growth might be more growth into gross margin, net margin, etc. Growth might be in development of people and etc. There's lots of different areas that we will define and work through that provide growth within the organization. Of course, stemming decline is also really important. Decline might not be an overall position of your business, but there might be decline in certain areas. It could be the revenue, it might be in forecasting, it could be within people, trends, there's lots of different things that might happen. And through our benchmarking capability and through our analysis, we'll understand where all those highs and lows might exist in your business. And our job is to remediate that, stem any decline that's going on to the business, and perform a trajectory turn for your sales and sales operations that are all pointed towards growth. The next big thing, and it is a huge one within this particular part of your sales director, someone to bounce ideas off. This is really important because the Your Sales Director program and the people that come to your organization to support you, They are world-class sales leaders in their own right, and they come from a rich background of skills, knowledge, and understanding working across different sectors, markets, verticals. They'll have worked in small businesses, medium, large businesses, etc. They'll have worked with diverse teams. They'll have worked across all the spectrum of understanding that you will be looking for and looking for support on. So we're there for you to do some checks and balances. For a lot of organizations, for a lot of sales leaders, business owners, founders, CEOs, VP of sales, all of the sort of grand titles that operate in business today, they will look at their sales operation, they'll look at their sales business, their sales people through a very specific lens, a focused viewpoint of how they see their world. When you work with a sales geek from Geek and about your sales director, you're going to get lots of different vantage points. So someone to talk to, ask ideas about, proposition, concepts about what you're thinking and why you're thinking it, gives you the opportunity to soak up ideas and concepts that we may have and we may know from different sectors, different markets, different verticals, all designed to support and grow your knowledge about running your small, medium or large business. Don't underestimate the power of being able to bounce an idea off a geek. It's not just one geek you're going to bounce that idea off of. It's over 1,400 years of combined experience, learning and knowledge that actually you're tapping into. Third, it's about outcomes that move dials. So the dials are always subjective here at Sales Geek, as they are in the nature of all businesses. We don't know what the important dials are to you until we get into the business, do our diagnostics, do the analysis and understand what's really important to move your business towards accelerated growth or stemming whatever those areas of decline might be. The dials are really important. We'll create those KPIs. I'm going to use a couple of acronyms. So the core performance indicators and the OKRs. So it's big language that we use here at Geek, which is OKRs, objectives and key results. They should be common in your business, but if they're not, that's what we operate by. And OKRs are the baselines and benchmarks by which you can hold us to accountable, but equally we're able to hold you and your business accountable to, as we build the trajectory and fix all those elements into the business, that we build that acceleration growth program. So all the dials get built, and it's not just revenue numbers. There are all sorts of KPIs. There are going to be people numbers. They're going to be market, customer retention, leverage numbers. They could be P&L dials. There's all sorts of different things. But again, working through your sales director, we will understand what all of those need to look like. Working alongside you and all of your teams, we'll put all of those things in place to make sure that we're tracking the right things for the right reasons to get the key word I'm going to constantly come back to is the accelerated growth. So going on a trajectory of growth is one thing, but providing acceleration in growth is something completely different. So build out the dials and the outcomes that move those dials is principal to what we're there for. Next thing, the middle line here is the core, I think, to what your sales director does, what we're about, and what happens when we're in an organization. So the first thing is increasing the pipeline. And there's two core aspects to pipeline. There's lots of stuff that goes into pipeline, of course, but the key things we're interested in is velocity and capacity. So the capacity of the pipeline might cover things about coverage. Do you have the right number of coverage in your business? Do you have the right size of pipeline for each of the stages of your sales process, whether it be from leads to opportunity, clients, re-engagements, all of those sorts of great things. And then of course it's the speed of which that we move everything through your organization, through your processes. And to do that, we might build new processes, or we'll engage with the processes that you have and make sure that they're fit for purpose and world-class through our benchmarking exercises, of which please do see the video on maturity models to understand more about. So build and increase that pipeline. Velocity and capacity is all important in an organization. If you have velocity and you have capacity, you start to create acceleration within the sales operation. So to get there and build the equation out further, we then move into faster conversion ratios. Conversion ratios are everything in a sales operation. Understanding what your lead to opportunity conversion ratio is, your opportunity to close ratio, your book to bill. There's lots of different language that you might be familiar with or you'll use. We have language that we're familiar with and we'll use, and we'll teach you what you don't know, or we'll work with what you have if you have those established practices in the business. Ultimately though, your sales director is to understand this, dissect it to a real fine level, and in provide all the increment development areas to improve and optimize what your conversion ratios look like. So if we combine faster conversion ratios with an optimized pipeline with velocity and capacity, we start to create the momentum towards growth and velocity of growth. If we're doing all those sorts of great things grandly, then we're into more sales and greater reach. So more sales is obviously what most people want. Not every business does though. There is a stability of the sales line. It doesn't have to be that I have to have more sales in. It might be the repeatedness of that sales process. But ultimately for most businesses, it is about getting more sales in. Is that at a sector level, market level, line of business level, individual level? Is it an overall level? Lots of different ways that you can cut and dice the more sales argument, but more sales is ultimately what you're trying to achieve and our aim for every business, and it is what we deliver the most of. Next to more sales, greater reach. Greater reach again is also a little bit more of a subjective nature. So the thing that we want to look at in a business is, where do you get your clients from? Is it one particular market, one particular sector, one particular demographic? Our job is to explore all the different regions and ways that you can get greater reach into your business. There's a great analogy for sales, which is the basics of sales, if you like. There's 3 core models: sell to, sell through, and sell with. And that's the first principles that we would often sit with an organization to understand, what is your sell to strategy? Who do you sell to? How do you sell to them? What's the maximized way that we can get the most return on our investment, i.e. capital of people, market research, campaigns, all those sorts of things to get our sell to model optimized. Then it's sell through, sell with, whether we're doing this partnerships, affiliates, going to different markets, going to different sectors, different product bases, all of that sort of great stuff. We would analyze that to the nth degree, and then we have the experience of building the strategic and tactical plans and roadmaps to gain additional market reach, depending on how we're going to go and do that and what your particular vertical and sector might be. So that middle line talks a lot about getting into the DNA of building out the robustness of a sales operation. When it comes down to the bottom part, then this is where we get to the end game of what we're there for. And an end game, by the way, just to set the scene for this, in Geek, over 8 years of providing your sales directors out to the small, medium and large industries, the average tenure for a geek in a business ranges somewhere between 14 months and 2 years. So we work on a retained service, and that means you might have your sales director for a day a month, half a day a month, 2 days a month, 3 days a month, 4 days a month, a day a week, that might work out. We require none of the politics, of course. We require none of the ins and outs. We don't need a phone. We don't need to be in your office every day, etc. We just want to focus on all the things that are important about sales and sales operations. So that takes time. And as I say, over 8 years of working with thousands of businesses globally, the average tenure is between 14 months and 2 years that you can expect to be working with your geek, as it can take a long time to build all of this out for a business. And remember, our job is to build it, not only build it, but then we own it. We're your sales director. We own that stuff. We own all of this stuff that we'll have built out. We will manage it. We will deliver it for you. So ultimately, we're finally going to get into increased efficiencies, reduce the waste, get rid of everything that doesn't need to be in the business, or optimize what is in the business to make sure that it is fit for purpose and it is ready to go for you for both now, over the next tactical 12 months, and broader out into the next 36 months or 12 quarters, which is a 3-year strategic plan. Ultimately, as we build all of this out, we're going to leave you with better people and better teams. And that's principle and core amongst what we do. You can't change the way the world perceives sales unless you're changing the people that fundamentally sit behind it. That's everything from you, the leader. You could be a CEO of a medium and large business. You could be the entrepreneur, founder of the smallest of businesses. But it's also about you. And that's core and principle to everything that we do, to make sure that you're leveraging the learning from over 1,400 years of 60 boys and girls across 4 continents right now, to make sure that you're getting the best knowledge that you can get from all of us. We're going to funnel that down into your leaders, into your own sales directors, if you have sales directors, into your sales managers, and ultimately into the frontline salespeople, whether they are sales agents, BDMs, customer services, receptionists, whatever that is. If they represent your brand, If they speak about your business, your products or services maybe, but they certainly represent the brand and they talk about you, then they're in sales, and our job is to improve their capability to represent you and represent your brand. Finally, we will set in place the business strategy for the future. And there we use our Theory of 12s model, I'm going to come on to that in a moment, to build out the structures, strategic pathways, all the design and development that you're going to want to take your business on a 3-year journey. And we will be with you for a part of that journey. There are some geeks here, don't get me wrong, there are some customers here in Geek today that we have been with for the entirety of their program and their journey with us. So don't underestimate how long you might decide to spend with a geek. If you're enjoying it, the service that we provide, if you're enjoying working with the geek that you have in your business and you're getting maximum value across these core areas, then you'll be with us for as long as you need to. Finally, when we're finished doing all of the core 9, we got the last one in here. So we want to make sure that you're left with best-in-class processes, methodologies, people, all the stuff that says in that box there. And that's really, really important. And there are typically 3 ways that we disengage from a client, depending on how long we've spent with them. Whether we've spent a year, 9 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. There are some geeks here globally that have worked with clients for nearly 8 years. So be prepared to spend some time with us as long as you're seeing the value of it. But ultimately, when we decide conjointly that we're going to part ways, we're going to do it for 1 of 3 reasons. Number 1, we may have agreed that through our development program of the strategy side of your business, that we're going to recruit in, train and develop an equivalent of your sales director to exit a business. And that could be it's a full-time sales director. It might be that we're going to promote someone from the business or recruit someone externally to be a sales manager. Somewhere along the line, there is a layer of management that is now being brought into the business, and our job is to recruit that person in, train development, hand over all the skills, competencies and capabilities they need to take that plan that we will have built and developed with you over that period of time onto future to make sure that you are super successful. So number 1 is we will make ourselves self-redundant by bringing in the right skill sets to become your full-time employee. Second way that tends to happen is we might agree together, certainly for the smaller and more micro businesses, that we don't need a full-time sales manager or a full-time sales director to replace us, but what we do need to do is to train the people within the business to a core skill, a core level of competency, confidence and capability that they can take the journey on themselves. So they might not naturally name themselves to be a sales director or a sales manager, but they operate at that management line and they feel more confident and capable now of what it takes to build a robust and operate a robust sales operation, whether that is the smallest of businesses to the biggest of businesses. And finally, there is just a natural downgrade where we have done everything that we need to do. You don't need the heavy-handedness of us in your business for a day, 2, 3, 4 days a month, but what we might morph that onto is to our mentoring service. So our mentoring service, see the other videos about those things, is a world-class program where the geek will now become your mentor and just tap into you and your business once a month, once a quarter, whatever the cadence you will have agreed, and they'll just be there to provide someone to bounce ideas off, to talk to just check and balance how things are going, and then you just move the dials forward yourself by a combination of all of those core elements. So that's what customers want from us. That's what we've been delivering for the past 8 years, and that's why you should be with us for your sales director. So let me go through what happens when we're in your business. So if the first part of this dialogue was about what things customers are expecting from us, I want to talk about this concept called the 6 hats. So every time a sales director comes and works into your business, we will introduce you to the concept of 6 hats. In fact, we're going to talk about 7 hats, and I'll come on to that at the last slide in a moment. But the 6 hats are really important because what we know and what our geeks are really experienced on is we have knowledge, skills, understanding, and experience across a wide range of departments, areas, themes in a business, not just orientated around a sales department. A great sales director, a great sales leader will know things around marketing, of course, they'll know stuff around product, operations, they'll know stuff around all sorts of areas. So therefore, we do naturally bump into those departments. But our job is not to take those departments over. Our job is not to supplant any of those core areas or the people that operate in them. Our job, when there are 6 core business divisions, of which are going to come up in the hats now, we want to work alongside or conjoined with the heads of those departments to make sure that we are getting the maximum of their operation to facilitate the sales operation, to maximize the sales capability in line with all the outcomes, the deliverables, the OKRs, the KPIs, all the things that we've just been talking about that need to be delivered to make the business successful. So first and foremost, we are your sales director. That is the core principle that we are there for. And it is all about stabilizing sales processes, it's systems, people, growing pipeline, conversion ratios, everything I've just said on the previous slide. And that's the principal job. I'm in your business, or they're in your business. I might be there a day a month, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days a month, whatever it is. And anything and everything, sales operation belongs to me. I'm accountable to you, the business owner. We own it, we run it, and we will deliver against all of the objectives that we'll have created for you. And that might take us a year to do and deliver all of that stuff. That might take 2. And as I said, across the world right now, there are geeks working with clients that they've been with them for nearly 8 years. So it can be quite the tenure. The next one though is marketing, and it is a principal part of what we do. It's a principal aspect that we need to understand in sales. And marketing is all important, but we're not your marketing managers. We're not the campaign manager or anything like that. We'll give you great advice. We'll give you great insight about what you need to do and how you need to operate marketing and campaigns and all of those sorts of great things, but we're not that person. We love to work alongside the people in your business that have that role and responsibility, but we're not there to take that over in any way. We're there to make sure that what they do supports the sales operation to maximize and achieve the targets, the strategies, the tactics that we will have defined and built out for 12 months and 12 quarters. Key amongst those, it's comms strategies, branding strategies, and campaigns and social presence. That's what we're really interested in, to make sure that marketing represents sales and sales operations in the most adequate way, in the most functional way, to build out that lead and pipeline, to make sure there's enough robust qualified AQLs and MQLs, all that sort of great language, into the top of the funnel that sales can get its teeth into and start maturing into a way that it can convert that into paying customers for you. The next part that we tend to operate in quite extensively is then operations. So operations is really important. We're not the traditional language of operations director that you would be more akin to. I mean, I'm the COO here at Sales Geek, but operations that we have and that we're really interested in your business is geared around business strategies as first and foremost. So business strategy forms into operations because people will take that over, even if it's in the smallest of businesses. That could be the micro business owner, that could be the larger chief executive, whoever that is. But we've got to build those strategies out, all the plans that underpin the strategies to deliver the success stories that you need. And then beyond that, it's about implementing systems and processes. So where there is a need for us to get involved in systems and processes, and only where there is a need, then we will tap into that. An example might be, you might be a business that doesn't yet have a maturity model enough that you think, you know what, I need a CRM. That's fine. There's a lot of businesses that don't need CRMs. You might be working on an Excel spreadsheet. You could be using a notebook, who knows? But it might be along the journey, and it happens a lot within Geek, that we mature a business enough that it says, we're now ready for a CRM. Our job then is to advise what best practice looks like to secure your CRM platform of choice. We are CRM agnostic. We have no skin in any particular game of any CRM platform. Our job is to design what the CRM outputs need to be to maximize your growth and objectivity to build your business model out for you. And then we might make observations and recommendations based on the collective experience of all the geeks around the world of what CRMs might work for your type of business. Still down to you to make the final choice. But again, someone to bounce ideas off, someone to give you insight as to what works the best around the world so that you can minimize the mistakes that we often see in businesses that business owners and business leaders will make, is they'll think, okay, I need that system over there. They'll go out, they'll invest in it, they'll put hard CapEx or OpEx into that, they'll make operational changes around those things, and then only to get 6-9 months down the road and realize it was the wrong choice. But they've gone for that choice under the lens that they've looked at the market. And that could be as simple as a Google search or asking a few friends. Asking Geek, you're going to ask over 1,400 years of combined experience across thousands of customers for the past 8 years. We pretty much know what CRMs will fit what business model, what sectors, what markets, what types of things you're trying to achieve. It's a long way of saying in operations, anything where there is a system or process that needs to be implemented, where it will touch the field of sales, we've got some advice for you. Next core area, and this is a big one. So it's HR. So we will obviously work alongside your internal HR departments. Now, if you're a small business, micro business that doesn't have HR, our job is to provide some guidance, understanding and best practice about the basics of HR, but we have a great eco-family, both domestically in each region, nationally across every country and globally, of amazing HR partners. And if you ever need someone where you want to tap up some real professional advice or get someone into the smallest of your businesses or the largest of your businesses to help you out, then we know a few people around the world right now. That all said though, there are a few things within the HR department we are really interested in. So first and foremost, obviously, it's the development and understanding and nurturing and well-being of your teams. And that includes you. You know, that falls under the world of HR, making sure that you're resilient, making sure that you're fit for purpose to build your business empire if you're the small business, making sure if you're a medium to large business owner, a CEO, a sales leader or something, we've got your care at our heart to make sure that you are well looked after from the mental side of things, because it's hard work. It's hard work being a business leader today. It's hard work managing teams. It's hard work running any type of operation. We live and operate in challenging times, and we know it. We've seen it all. We've experienced it all across the world from all sorts of different sizes of businesses, and we're well placed to give you great advice and support at that mentoring sort of level. Other areas, it's things like pay plans, it's well-being plans, it's making sure that down to the individuals, that they are high-performing individuals in line with constructive frameworks that you may either have or have established in your business. But if you don't have them, don't worry, we'll build all those things out and make sure that your people are confident and capable, that from a HR perspective, they are well cared for when it comes to sales and operations. And the last thing within HR that we're really interested in is clearly recruitment and talent retention. Now, I'm a bit of an old school and I don't really like using the term talent, because there is connotations that there's two sides to that. You're either talent or you're not talent, and I don't like that. Everybody is talent. It depends on how you manage them, lead them, nurture them, and how you work with individuals. But on recruitment, that is a really important part. You want skilled, highly skilled people into your business. We work in a really complex world now, and ever getting more complex around AI and all of that sort of great stuff. So getting the right candidates, the right people into your business is pivotal. And we have a real experience of how to do that into businesses. And we're interested in 4 core things when it comes to recruitment. Number one, we're interested in screening. Seeing what you go out with in terms of the job spec. We can help write those sorts of things, but also introduce you to HR partners to make sure that you've got the right job specs going out to market. We know the right language to use to hire people and to look for the right candidates to apply for the right job for your business if we've decided that together one of our growth indicators was to hire salespeople into the business, as an example. So we want to screen them. We want to see all those CVs. We want to make sure that we know that hiring has a big cost to it, all right? So we want to make sure that when people come through to that screening, we're getting the right candidates for the first filter. Next thing we're interested in is interviewing, and we're really skilled, very adept at interviewing. We've done it for thousands of people around the world, and we know all the interviewing skills that you can ever want to know, and we know how to interview. So that could be a combination of just straight one-to-one telephone interview initially. That might be a quick coffee chat. That might be the full spectrum of talent and psychometric profiling testing, and we have all of that capability within the business. So whether you want to go to that extreme where you want that full psychometric analysis of an individual and a candidate benchmark globally, we have that capability, or whether it's just literally a chat in a coffee shop, sharing concept ideas, dreams, and ambitions, that could be enough to bring the right person into the business. So interviewing is important. And then once they're in the business, it is their development and training, making sure that they're skilled, they're enhanced, they're confident, which is really, really important, to go and deliver and achieve the goals and roles that we'll set for that individual, whether it be a line manager, it's an individual salesperson, customer services, and so on and so on. So we want to make sure that we've got their training, their well-being, the pay plans, all of those sorts of structures up to speed. And then finally, the fourth element that we're interested in too on the life cycle of recruitment is their line management. If we're your sales director in your business, we would be their line manager. So we want to make sure that we're okay with that, they're okay with that, and we know that we've got the right person for you. On average in industry right now, the cost of failure for poor hires is astronomical. You can go and Google these stats yourselves, but currently at the moment, it costs a business, and I'm going to give you a very wide range here because it's going to have to encapsulate all business. From the smallest of businesses to the largest of businesses, the cost of failure for hiring the wrong person, and that means the loss of salary, time, revenue you could have achieved, your time, etc. All of those combinationary factors ranges anything from $50,000 to $500,000. That's a big number as a cost of failure for a single individual. And the more times you get that wrong, you multiply and you compound the factor of failure and the revenue loss and potential revenue loss into the business. We are world class at this. We know how to recruit. We know how to get the right people into the business. We know how to get people out of a business as well, in line with standard HR practices. So we are very adept at looking after the people and making sure that the right people with the right confidence, the right level of skills and capability to make sure that they can go and deliver the journey right for you. So HR is really important. Product. So yeah, product's a really interesting area, and we do get involved in product quite a lot. The smaller the business, actually, the more we get involved in it. The bigger the business, we tend to more sit at the fringe elements of products. But most importantly, value propositions. Most sales operations fail to really understand what true value proposition is, how you articulate one, how you build the building blocks of a value proposition, how you execute that in line with marketing, how that's fed back into operations and the whole life cycle of value proposition development. And we have a world-class process to build those out, both overall company level all the way down to the micro, so the macro and the micro levels down to products and individuals and lines, sectors, etc. So value proposition, pricing roadmaps, launch strategies. We've launched so many products globally for clients that had an idea, had a concept, said, right, I want to build this out, I want to launch it. We've done it numbers of times, achieved great success for businesses around the world. So yeah, it's a small part of what we do, but product launches is definitely something we're quite adept at. And finally, really important one, and it tunes back to the slide before, we're here to support the SLT. Now, of course, governance says that we can't sit on a board unless we're invited as an NED, etc. But at the SLT, senior leadership team level, and every business, whether you're the smallest of micros, and it could be an SLT of one, actually, if you're the smallest of micro businesses and it's just you, and you bring your sales director into your business, you're now an SLT of two, because it's you and us. And actually, you'd be an SLT of probably more than two, because you have access to other geeks behind, just not only the geek that you might be working with, but there's a lot of deep, rich conversations you can have. But ultimately, we're there to provide independent oversight, to give you advice, guidance, to let you know where you're going right. And also, geeks care, geeks are brave, and geeks get shit done. We're there to challenge you where you might get things wrong. We've seen every business make every mistake you can possibly imagine, and we know what happens globally in businesses when they make those mistakes and the costs of those mistakes. We've seen it all, experienced it all in the last 8 years, and our job is to bring that rich knowledge to you through that guidance. And ultimately, when we might exit a business, we may still sit in your SLT once a quarter, once a month, something like that, where we'll come back, read all the reports, the OKRs, the KPIs, the strategic documentation, whatever it is we may have built together with you. It's often useful that customers would retain us on a quarterly basis just to pop back into the SLT, have a quick conversation, read where we're at, check and balance, are we in the right direction, provide some insight, and then we sail off into the sunset once more. So that's the 6 hats. There is a 7th, I'm going to come to that. But now what I want to go through is the process. And there is a process, there's a framework. And depending who you are as a customer, depending on the size and complexity of you as a business, depends on how much of this stuff you will see. But this process happens in the background 100% of the time. You might not see it or experience it face to face and see all the tangible bits that go on behind the scenes, because I'm about to show you some of it. But it happens all the time in every client that we've ever had and ever will have. And the reason for this is because we want to demonstrate to you that there is a robust framework, a set of procedures, practices and processes that we commonly follow globally to make sure that you're getting the best at every landing point to meet all of those objectives that we talked about at the start of the video. So the first thing, there's 3 core areas that we're going to want to focus on, right? So number 1, we want to build out a footprint. So when we come into the business, the key thing that we want to really dig under the hood of is how old is the business and what are all the things you have done to bring you to here today. And here will be insert today's date. Now that requires a lot of stuff, I'm going to go into that. So we want to build out a footprint. And then you as a business might be literally fresh out of university. You might be a young solo entrepreneur looking to start a business, and you've engaged in Geek to say, look, teach me everything you need to know about getting going. And you don't have much history. Oh, sorry. You don't have much history, but you will have history. You'll have histories to your ambitions, your mindset, your youth, your school, your education, your career. These are all important parts that help tell your story as part of you as to how you got here. Now that is also the same whether you're a business leader for a medium or a large business. There is a story that you have that got you to where you are because it helps inform the story of where you're going and why you want to get there. And that's really important for us to know. So we're going to build out this footprint. Once we understand that, I'm going to build it out in a second, we're going to build into this blueprint. So we know where you came from, and now we're going to define for you where you're going. And more importantly, define where you're going to go. We're going to build out all the milestones on how you're going to get there. And that's really important and what most businesses miss or lack in industry and in business in general. How do I get there? How do I build the plan? And how do I execute the plan? We use the language of strategy a lot, and we've heard the term a lot. I'm sure all of you have. But do you really know what it means for you and your business? What does an executable strategy model look like? That sounds like something that comes out of a gazillion management books that are written every year. So our job is to demystify all of that and build out the tangible processes, roadmaps, roadblocks, all of that sort of great language that will take you on those practical stepping stones to deliver your 3-year strategy. And finally, we're going to set out that direction, the work stack, the things we're going to work on, and then we're going to put our 6 hats on and away we go. So let's go into the individual elements. So number one, we have an academy. So the academy, the Sales Geek Academy is available to you. And there are 2 variations of the academy, and you'll speak to your geek about that. The academy is really, really important. So it's an e-learning platform. It's got hundreds of videos. I nearly said thousands, it's actually hundreds of videos. It's got dozens and dozens and dozens, nearly 100 if not more, of courses in there. And they're all designed to add more capability, confidence, training development out to you as either the business owner or to your salespeople or anyone that you want to give access to that particular platform. And we as geeks might use it in a number of different ways. For example, I have said that we operate as a retained service. So we might work together on 2 or 3 days a month. So I'm in half a day a week or a day a week or half a day a month. As little as half a day a month if you want to. And the smallest of businesses will often do that. So you might have 1 or 2 sales guys, you might have 100 sales guys. So we'll put everybody onto the academy. It's an e-learning platform, access from your phone, access from your laptop, etc. And all of these videos are micro teaches. They range from 90 seconds to 3 or 4 minutes long, but they're insights and ideas and concepts and thought ideas around certain things like prospect, lead generation, negotiation, closing skills, I don't know, whatever those things are. So we as a sales director in your business might say to your small sales team, or to you if you're the business leader, right, go into, I'm only with you for a day a month, let's say as an example. I'm with you for 1 day a month, and what I would like you to do for the day that I'm not there, for the time I'm not there, I want you to go on into the app. I want you to spend some time in there, no more than half an hour. You're going to get geek points in there, you get stars, all sorts of great stuff. Whoops. You get all sorts of great stuff when you're in there. But what I want you to do is to look at 5 videos on prospecting, and then when we get together for our sales meeting in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, whatever it is, I'd like you to present back to me what you've learned. That's a great example of how we might use the academy for your salespeople, for example. But there's always something there. Additionally, within the academy, there's an amazing feature there called the community. I nearly forgot what it was called. Called the community, where any of your people, your teams, you as an individual, you could go into the app and say, do you know what? I've got a question. I don't know the answer to this. I'm dealing with this. I'm doing that. And you can pose the question in the community, submit, enter, and the 60 plus geeks around the world get to see what that community question is, and we get to reply to it. So you get 60 narratives and voices, or up to. There might be one person reply 10, 20, 30, it depends on who's reading the question. Do they have an input to that question? But these are all experts in these fields, and if they've got insight into your question, they answer it. And you've now got access to another deep, rich vein of knowledge and understanding by posting community questions about your challenges or issues that you're facing as a salesperson or as a sales leader, about your market, your customers, I don't know, line managing somebody, dealing with a complex prospect, whatever those things are, the community will have an insight for you. Powerful tool. So Academy, get you built onto that. Also, the Academy is there for you for life. In the event that we obviously would then start to not work together because we've hired our replacement or we've trained you enough and your natural geek steps to one side, the Academy stays with you and you'll have that for as long as you want it. It's our gift to you. Knock yourselves out. The next thing is, and this is really important, we've got to get into the diagnostics. So Sales Geek is famous for a number of things. We are famous for providing world-class sales directors. We're famous for our mentoring. We're famous for our sales training. And we're absolutely historically famous for our diagnostics. So diagnostics comes in lots of different ways within a business. And you have to get under the DNA. You've got to get under the real what's going on in the business. Get under the hood of the engine of both individuals, teams, the culture of the business, and the operations of the business. And we do that in a number of ways. So there is analysis for individuals, and we call them the GA family. So we have SGA, LGA, BGA. There's a number of GAs, and they're called gap analysis. So this is a survey, if you like, where we would send you that out, and it comes out through our survey system, and that will go to you as the managers, the leaders, the salespeople. We have surveys and analysis for clients where we can do that 360 type thing. There's a number of ways that we do that, and we would talk you through what goes on in there. And we ask and elicit loads of questions. How do you feel about this? What's your confidence in that? Rate yourself here. And we would do that firstly line of sight. So that's between Sales Geek and the individual. And we want to just make sure that we get your sentiment as to how you feel against all those questions. And I'll give you a really simple example. Rate yourself on 1 to 10 for prospecting. There you go, it's not a complex question, and you might rate yourself good solid 9 out of 10 and good for you. Our job is then to qualify that a little bit and check what you mean by prospecting. We might dig in a little bit deeper then about what actually goes into prospecting, just so that we can understand where the gaps might start to exist. And we would then benchmark that against what we know everybody else looking to prospect actually does score and where the gaps are, and it helps feedback any remediation plans for you. So the first one is line of sight. The second part is either a 180 or 360. So let's say I've done that survey between your sales director and you, your teams. We would then elaborate that out a little bit further, and we might do that as to ask the same question set but of peers and of line managers. And now what we get is a 180 stroke 360, depending on how far around we go, analysis of what everyone else says compared to what the individual says. And all of that data is fed back, it's compared against other data sets, and we now get an insight and a sense and style of where all the gaps might exist, GA, the gap analysis. That helps us then build remediation plans, care plans, and interim programs to help stabilize teams and individuals and elevate their competency skills and all that sort of great stuff. Above that, we have diagnostics to analyze the culture of a business and the culture of teams. Really important stuff. Culture drives everything, and we want to make sure we're under the hood of that. And I won't go into the detail of those things, but we have benchmark systems that go into the culture of your individual teams and right across the business. Because understanding the culture then understands how, if we're to do remediation programs into a business, this might work, how it all's going to pan out, and what the success rates can and likely to be. And if you've got a really poor culture in a business, that's where we're going to start our work, if we're honest. And then building up from that, we have psychometric profiling. So Sales Geek is a disc house, if you're familiar with psychometric profiling, and we have been a disc house for many years. All of our geeks are trained and accredited practitioners within DISC, and we have DISC profiling for lots of different things. For example, we would do the very basics for everyone in the business to understand your DISC profile, i.e. how you behave in the workspace. So if you're not familiar with psychometric profiling, there's 4 core things that we look at under psychometric profiling. We look at behavior, which is DISC. We look at motivation, how you're motivated to change behavior. We look at acumen, your ability to understand your internal worldview versus external worldview. And we look at competency stack, the key things that you need to know and understand to function in your role. And then we map all of those things together to build and look after the right remediation programs to develop you to the highest level of skills. We're here to change the way the world perceives sales and put in robust disciplines, practices, skills, competencies and capabilities into everyone in your operation, whether you're a one-person person running your business or whether you're the biggest of multi-corporates. This affects everybody. So diagnostics is really important. The other thing about diagnostics and why it's important for you, why it's important for your business, is this provides an initial baseline. So we could look at all of that analysis on day one or week one by the time we've completed all the analysis, and we get the "you are here" position. And let's say in 6 months' time, 9 months' time, a year's time, 2 years, 3 years, we have clients running this kind of program every single year with us. We can then measure and track what's changed. This helps with ROI, return on investment. It helps with cost-benefit analysis. It helps on justification to make sure that we've done all the right things. It helps you attune your people. It helps with talent acquisition, retention. It helps refine pay plan. There is no end of benefits as to why all of what we do here is really, really important. So we've done the academy. You're up and running on the academy. We've done a load of diagnostics. And diagnostics, that takes 10 minutes to get you set up on an academy. Doing diagnostics can take everything from 15 minutes to 2 or 3 days, depending on the size and complexity of your sales team. Once we've done that, we go into the YSD framework, and there is a separate video on the YSD framework that you can have a look at. And the YSD framework, the first thing we want to do is complete the journey today. And the YSD framework is our methodology, which is called Pathway, to take your business from the past to the future. And I'll explain that on the video that you can have a look at about the YSD framework. So we're going to complete the journey to date, find out how you got to where you are, and then most importantly, we then do a maturity model analysis of the business. See the video on maturity model analysis. Maturity model is really, really important. This will measure a number of core areas within the sales operations and sales discipline to see where are you currently at the moment compared to where you should be based on where your business model is right now. And that is industry benchmarked against every one of your peers, competitors around the world. And it provides really great insight for you as a business to know, well, here's where I think I am, here's where somebody else thinks I am, but this is where I should be. And most importantly, it provides all the gaps in between to help you and your sales director define and create the pathways to create that acceleration and growth program for yourself. So maturity model analysis, all done. And then finally, we'll build out the initial OKRs, objectives and key results for success. What do you and I, your geek that you're working with, agree are the success things that we know this was worth it? The investment in Sales Geek, in your sales director, has paid dividends. And we can only do it because we can measure it, and therefore we want to track that. And when we've done all of that, you know that you're getting the best value for your hard-earned investment into Sales Geek. And that finally builds us to you are here. This whole process, depending on the company, depending on the complexity, depending on the questions, depending, could take 2 or 3 hours, and it could take 2 or 3 days, depending on all the variables that might go on into a business. But it doesn't take long for the smallest of businesses or for the less complex of business, but it could take several days to get through if you're busier, more complex, you've got more sales teams, there's more people to discuss, more people to analyze, more things to go through. But we would do that along the journey. It's not a, we have to get here before we move forward. Our job at Sales Geek is to hit all the low-hanging fruit as well. So the moment we see and observe anything that can be done to remediate your travel, your direction of travel, achieve those wins, get on that growth scale. If we see it on day one, minute one, we're going to tell you about it. But we want to build this model out over time so that by the time we have left, you understand this to finite detail. So build out the footprint. Next thing, we're going to define the blueprint. So here we're going to use Sales Geek's proprietary theory of 12s. So this is where we build out your sales plan for 12 quarters, 12 months, and 12 weeks. Once we have all of those building blocks in place, we know the numbers, we know the levers, we know the KPIs, we know all of the things that we have to do quarter by quarter, month by month, week by week. We then own that plan and we deliver the plan. As we build that out, that will create for you a business plan analysis. Now that business plan is a living, working document that you would be able to operate, share with anyone. It might help you with investment. It might help you working with different sectors and markets, recruiting people into the business, but it provides the guiding light, that true North Star as to where the business is going. It has lots of detail, lots of rich information in there, and you might use 10% of it, you might use 100% of it, depending on the type of business, the size and complexity you are. But this business plan sits and lives and breathes with you and is operated and owned by your sales director. We have a RACI plan in there. Of course we do. Every good operation will have one. If you don't know what a RACI document is, it's a project management document, because what we want to do is we work through your plan for your business, smallest of businesses, largest of businesses. We need to make sure that people are in charge of their plan or their activity. Coming back to understanding the OKRs, the objectives and key results. We use RACI. Go Google RACI if you don't know what RACI is. But RACI stands for who's responsible, who's accountable, who needs to be consulted, and who needs to be informed. There is a slight elaboration on the one we particularly use, but it's a basic system, basic plan for just making sure everyone is informed, especially when you've got your sales director into medium or larger complex business, making sure that we're on top of all the moving parts in that business, in line with all the areas of the plan that we may end up owning or building out for you, is really important. You have confidence and knowledge that this is well taken care of. We have confidence and knowledge that you are well taken care of. Finally on that, we then build out the next layer of OKRs, which is the strategic OKRs, the things we're now aligning the business to over 12 quarters. So we've got tactical and strategic, and then finally we get into the direction and work stack. So the first thing, obviously, every sales manager, leader, director, salesperson wants to know is, what's your budget? What's the target? And if you don't know these things, don't worry, we have templates, processes and programs and methodologies to build all of that out for you. If you do know it, we just want it and we will own all of that. Reverse engineered into our quarters model, making sure that it hits where you were, is constructive to where you're going, and then we have our budget and targeting model. We'll then own that model, all the resources and everything that sits behind it, and then we will deliver it for you. So that then feeds down to your 12-month sales plan. So if this is all the numbers, budget and target, we've now got the sales plan, the building blocks. It could be week by week, month by month, individual by individual, sector by sector, market by market. We'll also do some scenario planning, because this is all great, but obviously great sales managers and sales directors then start to review this on a regular basis. You should always be doing it quarterly, half yearly at the bare minimum, and you would scenario plan alternatives. What if I did more of this, did less of this? What if we were over here? What happens there? Our job is to provide the thinking space, to provide the models, to provide the methodologies to help you scenario plan, to help you work out the what ifs. And the what ifs about business going down, what ifs about business going up, and the acceleration of business going up. This then helps us to reverse engineer back into the plan any changes that we then feel together you might want to make to improve that acceleration cycle. Finally, we have our operational OKRs. So we've got our 3 years, now our 12 months, and now we're into wearing our 6 hats. 12 hats, 6 hats. So in sales, it's all about targets, it's about training, it's about reporting, marketing, getting that reach out there, making sure that we've got our campaigns sorted out, got the PR correct. When it comes to operations, it's obviously systems, processes, and compliance. And finally, it's about HR, your frameworks, your rewards, the hiring, product, getting the propositions right, pricings, and the pitch. Don't like using the word pitch, but everyone understands the term of that. But it's the story you tell. So it's never a pitch in sales anymore. It's about the story you tell. You tell great stories, get great results. And finally, at board, the SLT, reporting, direction, and governance. So that's the process. There are systems, documentations, frameworks that sit underneath every aspect of this that we see, that we use, that you can see and you can use if you want to. But our job is to work with what you've got. And in the absence of what you've got, we have all the systems and processes in place to build it for you and give that to you as our gift, and you can go off and use those templates for yourself. If you're a more mature business and you have all of these things in place, our job is to assess them, analyze them, ensure they're fit for purpose, ready to hit the ground running, and then we'll manage them and take them on the direction. If they're not fit for purpose, but they exist, we'll refine them to be fit for purpose based on what we know globally is best in class. And finally, on this video, I just want to talk about feedback. So the start of that last slide, I talked about 6 hats of a sales director, or the previous slide. It's actually 7, if you remember me mentioning. And the 7th hat is all about feedback. In fact, you could probably scan that QR code right now. And the questions do change and differ for different types of things, but ultimately at month 3 and in month 6 and in month 9 and so on, but every quarter, your sales director will come and sit in front of you and they'll take off their metaphorical 6 hats and they will put the hat of the account manager on. And they're going to ask you some principal questions. We'd love you to scan this QR code. Not now, you don't have to. But when you're a client of Sales Geek, you'd scan the QR code and it's going to ask you some questions. Who are you working with and are you enjoying yourself? It's going to ask you things about what have we achieved for you right now? Any lessons we can learn? What's the highlight? Anything? There's lots of different feedback. So some feedback QR codes have 2 or 3 questions. Some have 5 or 6, depending on the type of sectoral market that we're working with. But once you get set up with us, you'll know which feedback question you've got. But every 3 months, it's a tap-in just to make sure that we at HQ, Global HQ, know what's going on with every geek around the world and that we're on your case for you to make sure that from a quality control perspective, Sales Geek is looking after you the best way it possibly can. So there you go. That's where we're at the moment. Hopefully that process of what it means to work with a sales director, the importance of working with a sales director, what you get from working with a sales director, and an insight into some of our process. Do look at the other videos specifically about the maturity model to understand what our approach and philosophy is around maturity models. And then finally, the last video on the framework itself so that you get an insight as to what a geek will do. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you.